Guys, Cat Llama here. Today is a lovely day, if you know what I mean. Thanks for tuning in. Got a spicy war here. Brazil, Japan is what I'm guessing. Or maybe Brazilian, something. Anyways, got the Doom, Magneto, Warlock today. Gonna get this Hit Monkey down with the usual Doom. Hit Monkey, man. One of the usual suspects in this path. If he's not in this area, he's in the one right next to it. Pretty clean war, I'll say. Finally, no deaths, just like I promised y'all. Had a weird little interaction in the final fight though. You're gonna have to stay tuned to see. That Hulkbuster, man, he's usually not that frustrating. But more on that later on. Right now, trying to get this Hit Monkey down. I always like baiting that L1 just so I don't have to take any chip damage. You know, I like to stay at high health as much as possible, because then there's those tougher fights later on where you might need a heal here or there. He's down. Moving on to a Nick Fury. Usual nodes for this guy right here, or the next one, or Mixmaster. You see him in a mix of those nodes here and there. This time around, he's right here. Ebb Flow Knockdown. Decoy Phase, probably the tougher one. But here, it's just a matter of watching him be annoying with his L1. Just kind of wait it out. Try to time those tactical charges. Just like this right here. That perfect timing, Fury's off. Restart. Oof, 13k. Heavy. You know, the ideal rotation is Beta's L2, but sometimes in these fights, depending on the node, he's not going to be as kind to you. And of course, that heavy being unstoppable also kind of slows you down a little bit. He's just over 2 power bars, so I can do the Doom rotation, push him to L3, get that power drain, go ham if you know what I mean. Something I should have probably thought about. He probably would have shrugged off all those hits if I had led him to decoy too soon. It wasn't an issue for this fight. Later on it might have been. I realized though I should probably try to learn to dodge that L1 because it's just so annoying. And he does not throw it so openly if it'll get him past his unblockable phase. And he just gets through it so quickly. This is the tedious part where you can't really bait as heavy because he goes unblockable, so you're led to intercepting. And it's nice to have an L1 during this phase because you can just dex it, get a few hits in, just like that. Still not down, but just a little love tap right there. Boom. There it is. Representing V-Day, folks. Now we got Nova bringing this guy down. Had a little brain fart in this fight. You're gonna see for yourself. Man. Thing about Doom though, if you're, you know, he kind of has that torch effect where he's essentially unkillable if you're fighting a cosmic champion. You know, they can try, but if you know what you're doing half the time, you won't die. even with an L3, even with whatever. I get a little greedy here, thinking I can push him to that L3 when I get L3, and then that happens right there. He gets an L2 in, then power alternator gets rid of my power, and then he hits an L3. Man, Nova's going to town. He's like, let me just drop some L2 bombs, some L3 bombs. Doom's not even half health. Crazy. This is a rank 3 super strong Nova. Something else I didn't notice, I'm sure y'all didn't notice either, that Unstoppable got removed when he got passive stunned. So it might be something worth considering to do the heavy passive stun to counter that unblockable heavy. I mean, it's kind of a risk, but you know, it's nice to have a few tricks here and there. When you least expect it, it might be useful. Sometimes you just want him to trigger that second attack light so you can parry it. Sometimes he's not as friendly. I do play pretty risky though, trying to get to that L3, because power alternator, if you're not watching that timer, it can just finish you. Imagine if he threw that L2 and I was still at L3, then power alternator triggers, he gets an L3 again. You saw that happen once, but to see it happen twice, oof. Now we got this Apocalypse. If he doesn't go stun immune, it's really not that tough a fight. And it's nice that he doesn't shrug off the shock, or in his abilities, gain that immunity to shock. So as long as you're playing straight, making sure to not trigger an L3 or pull a little brain fart like I did here, you'll be fine. No deaths though, so doesn't matter. It's always fun playing these protect wars, because you always got to dance around a little bit, gain that some of that intercept in on a regular fight. You know, you can be good at intercepting, but to be expected to kind of do it in all the fights consistently, that takes some skill. They should call this season of the skilled. Unless you do Quake style, then you don't want to do all that stuff. Just like, you know, don't use Quake against Agent Venom. But that guy, man, he's been so underutilized. Who's gonna remember that? Anyways, he's got 3 protect on him. It's gonna come down to some intercepts soon. Running through it, get some patience. Think about these kind of fights. You're not sure when there's gonna be an opening for that intercept. I made it happen just barely right there. And right there I kind of pulled a whammy thinking I could light intercept, but then he throws that L2 or L1. Kind of silly on my end, but what are you gonna do? 22% health, he's still almost half health. Oof, not looking good for the cat man. Now he's at 30%. Ain't that bad. Like I said, he's not stun immune, so you don't really have to worry much about it. Doom gets his rotation properly. Gets that L1, L2, and he's just melting. Was there ever really a problem, you say? No, not really. Because you got Doom. Next up, we got one of the usual suspects here. Probably mainly because of Protect nowadays. A MODOK. Only thing you gotta worry about here, if you're taking Magneto like me, you try to get that L3 in. Like I said before, that Magnetize can counter the Fury for some odd reason. And sometimes if the Fury doesn't trigger, your Magnetize can bypass the Protect anyways. But then there's that gray area where, you know, won't trigger the Fury, but also won't bypass the Protect, so your L3 is just silly. You're dead. Here is just the usual thing with Magneto. Just try to ramp up to that L3. Slow and steady. You got that Sadist node though, so do not get hit when those bleeds are on him. Just kind of play around. Trigger my first Protect. No problem, because we're about to get rid of it right here. Dancing around with the little boy. See, that time he didn't get the Fury, even though I intercepted. So there's that risk thinking, oh, it's not going to bypass Protect. But what do you know? It actually did this time around, which is nice. Now he's melting. It's nice that that one hit was perfect block, because probably would have hit pretty hard, given that he had 10 debuffs on him. And here, folks, we have a grand slammer of a fight. Gonna be Warlock, I-Bomb, Alliance mate, early on scouted and saw he has willpower. Warlock's gonna get to work on him. This fight can go two ways. Really bad, really good. Just depends on how you're playing. I had my light intercept game on though. I did some pretty fancy stuff here, as you're gonna see. Got that infection. Now that Fury ends, but he throws the L1, so none of those poisons trigger. I cannot tell y'all if that was intentional, but it was just very nice to see. Got tech power boost on, so oof, got an L1 back on. Such an easy breezy fight. I pull a little dummy right here. What are you gonna do? He's got 4 infections on him though. Just a matter of getting that light intercept in, waiting for that moment, and there it is. One more L2 should seal the deal. It doesn't, but I think, bam, crit heavy to finish it off. Such a nice, clean fight. Don't you just love that? Here we have a Void. First thoughts going into this, Warlock's full health, Doom's not. So let's go with Warlock. I'm feeling his vibe right now. I was fully boosted. It should not be that difficult of a fight. Protect won't even trigger on him. So you just gotta be patient. Time those Void debuffs properly. There goes the first one. I like to wait for that L2 to get my intercept in. See right there, I was trying to get an intercept in, but it doesn't work. And now, I'm just waiting for that Void debuff, but then the armor break was on, so that was a little weird. And now we're about to drop that bomb. Didn't do that much health. Whatever. Patience is the name of the game, right? Play it slow. 39 hits. Ooh, he's got 2 debuffs, but then you get that intercept in. He's clean again. As long as you keep those infections up, and he's got willpower up, time your combos with the debuffs, you're fine. Slow and steady again. Just love watching him degenerate for anything that he has. It's like that tiny little help that you don't really expect, but it's there. That one was a little bad on my end. Could have maybe timed that with another intercept, but he's already about to die anyways. And there it is. Next fight. This is the big kahuna right here. I was thinking, what in the world is happening? Hulkbuster, he has this ability. The more armor ups he has, he reduces 20% offensive ability accuracy. I didn't realize that in my past Hulkbuster fights. I guess I just nullified the majority of his armor ups, because I never had this happen where basically none of my abilities were triggering. And I was thinking, what is happening? And it's just some with RNG maybe. Nullifying those Furies instead. He starts going crazy. It's nice though that the Kabam gods be giving him only 4 armor ups. Otherwise, Hulkbuster could just shut down people's offensive ability accuracy permanently. It's not a nice thing though when he only has 1 armor up, which is supposed to reduce by 20%, and it reduces basically to 100. I get swiped here, thinking, you know, my shock's gonna trigger. So far, so good. Just gonna start rotating some incinerates so he can melt a little. But man, that energy resistance is just crazy. Barely hitting him. And now he's starting to ramp up on those armor ups, and there it was. Cat-like skills, thinking that I was gonna trigger my shock, so I tried to get that heavy in. Still hit me. But you know, Doom can take a hit. And now I'm just scrambling, trying to get rid of those armor ups, because what in the world is happening? He is not getting hit. Something else going in my head, thinking, well, it could also be protect, but I don't see any of those buffs on him. But just 1 armor up, and he's not doing anything to me. But it is making my hits so soft, so very soft. As long as that armor up is up, I'm just gonna take it real slow. Got a little heavy intercept there. But as you can see, he's slowly getting chipped away. Nothing. We're not even triggering Fury at this point. 2 minutes in. Not bad. Slow and steady. But now he's got 2 armor ups up. I just started rinsing and repeating incinerates. Only 1 of my incinerates triggered. Now he has 4 armor ups again. Gotta resort to trying to nullify him. And then he got another one. You know, 20% reduction, you got 4 of them on. Your abilities are only gonna have a 20% chance of triggering or doing anything. Even if Aura doesn't trigger, you still got those nullified chances on the beams. So you think, oh, you're good. But I want to get some more damage in, so I try to hit him as much as I can with my Aura, as much as I can with my L1, just to get rid of any of those armor ups. Man, 200 damage, 800 damage, nothing. 1 minute passed and he only got down, what, 15% health or something? Ugh, that L1 did nothing, and it didn't even trigger my Aura. Now I'm thinking, Assassin should have kicked in by now, so why not just drop 1 more Incinerate? It should finish it. And why not dabble with danger? Throw in an intercept there. But here it is. That's it for me, folks. Was a nice victory today. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Got my man Perkles back in this alliance. Did pretty good on that boss. He still has that new alliance jitters, so what are you gonna do? Thanks for watching, folks. Like and subscribe if you liked it. Otherwise, you know, thanks for watching again. Cat out.